welcome to Accompanied by Jess, and my name is Jess, and on this platform, as you already know, we discuss the deep secret matters of young people in our generation. Today here with me I have a very, very special guest. I'm soon to introduce him, but just to briefly let you know and explain to you some of the things that he has transferred and kind of gone through, you know, abuse, loss of family, loss of friends, bullying, you name it, the things that, you know, a lot of young people probably do suffer inside and haven't spoken of. He has actually gone through it, and he's a living testimony, and literally he is, you know, still here today to explain his story. Hence why the title we have today, From a Broken Man to a King. So here I am to introduce him.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so, you know, you've briefly explained to me, you know, what you've gone through, and obviously before we do that, let us just, you know, have you introduce yourself, you know?
My name is Toby. I go by Toby the Kingsman. Yeah, at the moment what I do, I'm a student right now. Then I work as an account manager for a head company. Then I do public speaking on the side as well. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So, you know, just briefly explaining, like, based on your story, it started from a very young age, from what I know. I believe you were telling me it started from the age of 9. So, you know, if you could just start off, like, what was happening when you were 9? Where were you, you know?
At the age of 9, I grew up in Nigeria. You know, my mom was in the UK. She was, you know, working and obviously sending money back home as well. Then we grew up around like family members. It wasn't really a great time, you know. 1 minute we're all happy, the next is just, you know, physical and verbal abuse from family members. And it was just me and my sister really. And when anybody sees me and my sister, they don't know we've been through a lot. So that's why we're really close. So, and obviously I didn't really get to know my dad that much really. So I got to know him by the age of 9, when I was 9. Then, but not that much, because when I was growing up, I just saw him as a ghost. I didn't really know. I didn't even see him around at all. So then, yeah, then I think by the age of, you know, 10, that's when obviously things started changing. So it wasn't really around even on my birthday as well. I didn't even remember him saying happy birthday to me or so. So then obviously when my sister was calling him, he didn't even pick up. So my mom tried him as well, he didn't even pick up. So it's like later on in the month, that's when I found out that, you know, he died.
Oh wow.
So it was really a tough, you know, a tough time for me and my family, especially me as well. I didn't really know him. I didn't really have any father figure in my life as well. So, yeah.
That's crazy. So just to quickly go back, in terms of abuse, you were saying that it was you and your sisters. So what kind of abuse, you know, if you can elaborate, and who was it, if you don't mind?
It was more of like verbal abuse. I feel like my sister was getting the verbal abuse more than I was getting like the physical abuse more.
Wow.
So it's just every little thing, because, you know, for example, if I misbehave in school, I'll get beat up like any other child does. But you know, I don't get told off, I just get beat up straight away. Then obviously if I wet the bed as well, I get beat up straight away. So it's just every little thing really was just mostly, you know, physical from my side. Then obviously from my sister's side, it was more really, you know, verbal. Okay.
So in terms of how, you know, just give us an example of probably one of the most severe kind of domestic abuse you've kind of gone through, actually, like one of the incidents.
I can't remember really, because it was just, you know, when I was young. I think, you know, I can't remember. I think something happened like between me. I did something wrong or so. So then, you know, when the family member found out, so it was just like beats throughout the whole night as well. Even the neighbors can hear it as well.
Oh my goodness.
So then I think the following week I wasn't feeling well. So then then what's it called? The neighbors upstairs, like literally, because that's when the family member wasn't around or so. So the neighbor was not around. The neighbor was around. So then I saw I was not feeling well. My whole body was like literally hot. So they had to like take me to their own place, flat as well, to look after me. So they were really angry. At the same time, that obviously I have to go through that. I was not feeling well as well. So they had to call my mom back, you know, in the UK, saying like, look, this is what's going on. At the same time, so I had to make sure that everything was okay at the same time. So
what was your mom's reaction when she, at least even getting that phone call that, you know, you'd been beaten so much that you were sick? And
our reaction, like, knowing my mom, she was really a strong person, and you know, she was really, I feel like she was really angry at the same time. So, you know, because she didn't really know what was going on really, because anytime we speak to her on the phone, it's like, you know, yeah, everything is fine. Then obviously if I get in trouble, they'll report her to, you know, her, and they'll report her as well. Then obviously she will have a go at me for misbehaving and that. So she didn't really know what was going on, like, behind closed doors. So then yeah, our reaction was she was really angry. So obviously she had to come back to the UK and, you know, find out what was going on as well. So then obviously she went back to the UK as well. So then obviously she kept calling to make sure everything is okay. So nothing was happening. So then obviously we had to stay with other family members for a short period of time as well. So then obviously they showed us love, then, you know, then other people showed us, they showed us love that other people did as well. So it was really good that I didn't really want to leave. Like, I just literally wanted to stay there.
To stay where you were being abused?
No, like stay in, you know, the other, like...
Oh, the other, okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, it's alright.
Yeah, okay.
Nah, it's just I really want to stay there. I didn't really want to go because I felt, and I was the quiet one as well back then. So even when my family friend were pushing me, like, you know, say something, I'm like, I don't know. So they always want to push me to talk, but, you know, they didn't really break me. So, because they really got annoyed that obviously I was this quiet boy, I didn't really want to talk or anything. So
do you think that you being quiet was a matter of the abuse you were going through, or what was the effects of you on the behavior on yourself and on your sister?
I think for me, I was more quiet when I was young. Then my sisters were, you know, more happy. Like, they just looked as if they didn't really go through it. But for me, I just really wanted to be in my own lane. Also, even in the midst around, you know, the men, like, I just wanted to be on my own lane. I didn't want anyone to, like, you know, disturb me. So then obviously I was really very stubborn when I was young as well. I used to misbehave a lot when I was young. So like, no one could get through me. Even my own mom could not get through me at all. So
wow. So you were quite mischievous, basically.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's crazy. So I believe later on you did discuss about your dad, you know, meeting him for the first time, and only for less than probably like we could say 8-9 months, and his disappearance. So, you know, share just a bit of that with us again.
Like I said, I always imagined him being a ghost. Like, I didn't really see him around. Then obviously when he would take me to his house, like during the weekends as well. But I feel like even there, like, the relationship was still slightly there, but not a lot really. So then I feel like he was trying to, like, you know, amend the let's say 7 or 8 years that is missed in that time as well. So because my sisters knew him, I didn't really know him at all. So it was just really hard really. I didn't, like I said, I didn't really know what was going on when I was young. So all I just saw was this guy trying to build a relationship with me as well. So
how come it was that your sisters knew him more than yourself? Is it because your sisters spent more time with them even before he left?
Yeah, my sister spent more time with him even when I was left as well, even from the first, the second and third born as well. So I think the last one was the one that didn't really spend time with him as well. Even the other people knew him, like even my other stepbrothers and stepsisters knew him more than me as well. So it was really, I feel like I was the only one that didn't really know him that well.
So does that build up anger in you that you didn't know your dad as well as your other siblings?
Yeah, growing up like in high school, college, like, you know, it really formed like really anger in me as well. And obviously me, you know, not having a father figure in my life as well. And, you know, that's where a lot of anger and that's when a lot of, you know, lies and, you know, me stealing from my family member as well came through as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So in the midst of this whole time of getting to know your dad, and sadly, sadly you lost your dad, despite he was trying to mend the relationship. You did say that he tried to call you, and you tried to call him, sorry, and your sisters tried to call him, everyone tried to call him. There was no way through. And the death of your father was after a month. So even in the midst of all of that, you know, you were still in abuse.
I won't say I wasn't really in abuse. I'll say after the month, I was living in like, you know, family, friends. Also, like, I'll say though, I feel like they didn't really care about us. Like, they just left us on the side. But obviously, they will come, like, you know, because me and my sister, me and my other sister were in boarding school. Yeah. So they will come once in a while, you know, to check up on us. But I feel like it wasn't really, you know,
out of a place of love or care.
Love, care. But at the same time, I feel like they still cared in a slight way, but not fully. But, you know, but I feel like for me, yeah, and even in boarding school as well, I got in a lot of trouble as well. Like, you know, I won't say getting into fight, just, you know, like misbehaving. Then obviously, like, they'll tell the family friend, and obviously they'll come to school as well. Then I'll get in trouble. I'll still get in trouble as well. So I think there's a period of time that, you know, that me and my sister had a fight in boarding school as well, that I actually said I hate you for the first time.
Wow.
So, you know, it really hurt her. Then I didn't know why she was crying. Then I think later on that obviously I got in trouble for saying that as well. So then, yeah, then obviously later on I apologized. That I didn't understand why I said that. I think it was in a place of anger as well.
So growing up, you would describe yourself as the angriest of your siblings.
Yeah, I won't say I was the angry. I was the stubborn and quiet at the same time, but I still had like that anger in me. Like, you know, I feel like it was the pain that I was going through as well. So I was just, you know, trying to hide it and trying to max it as well. So
okay. Yeah. So you know, part of your story, you did explain that you had your mum being called for her to take you to the UK. Yeah. And then you did study as well. Yeah. You did study. You went back after going to the UK. You went back to Nigeria to study in high school. So was it throughout the whole of high school, and then?
No, it was just like a couple of months, like let's say 2 to 3 months. Okay. Like from October to December. So then December period, like, you know,
the holidays. So my mom was like, you know what, it would be best for us to, you know, move to the UK. So she told my sister, but I feel like she told me like I was going on holiday. So I feel like, you know, she would feel like, okay, why am I staying here? So after that, so when I came to the UK, so my mom was like, oh, you're not going back home. I'm like, okay, what do you mean I'm not going back home? She's like, you're staying here, like in the UK. Okay. I was like, okay, but I was still confused, like what's going on. So how old were you then?
I think I was by age 11. 11 years old. So, you know, it was quite hard really. Then every time I was like, I want to go back home really. So my mom was like, you can't go back home, like you have to stay here, like that. So then obviously my sister was having fun. Then obviously, you know, she just let me in the corner like, well, you be a crybaby if you want to. Then
that's strange that you say, you know, your mum brought you here and you still wanted to go back. Yeah. And what was it that was making you want to go back? Did you feel like, you know, it was still home despite everything that was bad, or, you know, what was it that was tying you back to wanting to go back to such a place?
I think because it was still home for me. Then obviously it was me kind of missing my dad at the same time. So I feel like it was me trying to be with my dad spiritually, even though I didn't really get to know him that well. So at the same time, I just sort of wanted to be around home also. So yeah, it's just really missing the home, and then it's just transitioning from there to the UK as well.
So my next question was, how has you not having your father kind of disturbed your relationships with different people? Because especially with growing up, like, you know, now you're at the age you are now. So what's your relationship with people now, actually?
For my relationship now, I'll say like I can open up to people a lot.
Okay.
So I find myself open up to women a lot more than the men.
Okay.
So even the men, it's just like, you know, even my uncle as well. I'm starting to open up to my uncle a little bit now, even though sometimes it's always like, why are you quiet for? Like, just wake up. But, you know, it's still, you know, I feel like I grew up around women, so I don't really need to open up to you that well. So I need to open up to, you know, like my sister, and me and my third sister, like, we're really, really close. So I get to tell her everything that's going on in my life as well. Like the bits and pieces that obviously I always hide out, but I did later on, like in a month, I tell her like, okay, this is what happened, or so.
So she's kind of your third sister. Is she older than you, younger than you?
She's older than me. I'm kind of like the last one.
Oh,
like
okay.
I have like 3 girls. So.
So she's kind of been like your mummy figure throughout everything, despite your mum hasn't been there.
Yeah, to be honest, all 3 of them have been my mother figure as well, especially the oldest. Like the first one has actually been the mother figure in my life as well. Even though I've always misbehaved, like she's always like, you know, she's always telling me I love really. So even like there's some stuff that I do, even to this day as well, she gets annoyed. So I'm always like, oh my God, like here we go again. Like, so she's telling me I love, and she wants me to be like a better, you know, man. That my dad was. So she wanted to, like, out of like even growing up as well, I always feel the pressure of being like, you know, the father.
And funny enough, I was about to get to that as well. Like being like the father figure, especially to 3 women and your mum. What is it like when you came to the UK and rebuilding? Because you weren't around your mum for, I think, a period of a year or so, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of years really. So because she would come to the UK, then she would come to Nigeria, then she would go back to the UK. She would come to Nigeria again, go back to the UK. I didn't really understand, you know,
her.
I understand her, but I didn't really understand what she was doing.
Okay.
As well. So I think it was really work related, really. So then, yeah.
So now mending that relationship, growing up, becoming a man, not having a father figure. So, you know, was it hard building your relationship with your mum in the time that you came to the UK?
To be honest, that relationship with my mom was still there, because I feel like I had more relationship with my mom than with my dad. So because my mom was always, you know, still there, and she still cared as well. So, because, you know, even like I said, going back to me being stubborn, she still cared out of me, out of love as well. So even there's a time that obviously I always misbehave in school as well. Like, you know, she would have a go at me, she would shout at me. Then later on in the night, she would speak to me as well, saying that, you know what, you need to be a better person, really. So I think, to be honest, she saw a lot of potential in me that obviously I didn't really see myself. But I always, you know, I'm always the stubborn and angry child that just goes to the other direction. But she never still gave up on me. She still saw potential, even though it was frustrating at the same time. So she still saw a lot of potential in me as well. So
that's so touching that your mum was still there to support you. Just to go a tiny bit back, so you said the pressure of being the man of the house. Do you still feel like you have that pressure till now? And if you do, why do you think that is? Like, I know your dad made mistakes, but I'm saying, like, you know, if you are doing your role correctly, and in terms of being the man of the house, do you still feel the pressure of, you know, being compared to your dad as well?
Not really, because for me, I still compare myself to my dad till then. Because even later on in the years as well, I found out that, okay, this is what this man was up to, behind closed doors. But since then, I still compare myself to him. Like, obviously, I don't want to end up like this, you know, man. And there are times that obviously I don't see myself getting married. I don't see myself settling down with one woman. So I see myself like moving around like woman to women. So it's just, you know, later on, like, people always say, like, you know, you're better than this, like, you know. So it was quite hard, really. I always see myself, when I'm always around women, I always see my dad in myself as well. So at the same time, I'm always till now, I always snap myself out there as well, saying, like, you know, you're a better person. So.
Okay. That's actually interesting to know that you probably saw traits of your dad from a young age, despite not knowing him, but hearing stories about him.
Yeah.
So in terms of like women to women, so relationship wise.
Right. Yeah.
Just to get a little bit personal, how were your relationships? Because obviously not having a father figure can affect that kind of relationship. So.
Oh man, it affected me a lot, like in terms of relationship wise, like, you know, going from women to women as well, then breaking some of like the women's heart as well. So I didn't really understand what was going on. Even me, I didn't really understand what a relationship was back then as well. So I felt like, you know, because you know when you're growing up as a man, you say like, oh, you're not a man until you like be with certain women, like you're not a man until you sleep with certain, you know, women, or you know, if you don't have this, if you don't have that. So I had that mindset, you know what, then I'm the man if I don't, you know, go from women to women.
Okay.
So, and it was just, you know, I didn't really realize what I was doing until like someone pointed out, like, Toby, like, what is going on? Like, why are you doing this? Also, then obviously my sisters as well had to sit me down and school me, like, you know what, you need to think about us as well. Because the same, if you don't want men to treat us like how you train these women. So it just became a period of time, like, you know what, I stopped doing that as well. Then obviously, rather than, you know, sleeping around women as well, I always be friends with them and actually talk to them and advise them in terms of, you know, guys, the type of guys to avoid as well. So that's why I'm always surrounded by women, because, you know, I don't want them to fall, you know, under a man's influence as well. So I just want them to, you know their worth at the same time. So then, yeah.
That's great. So based on, you know, the collective of the whole story, what you went through when you were younger and everything, so what would you tell your younger self?
I'll tell my younger self, like, you know, be a better version of you, like be you, and stay true to yourself. Like, don't listen to other people when they say like you need to be this, you need to be that. Like, be who you say you want to be, no matter what. So then, yeah, just, you know, just be you.
Okay, that's amazing. So in terms of like what advice, you know, in terms of, I wouldn't say advice, but what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? Basically, I have a ministry called Kingsmen. So Kingsmen is just to help young men and, you know, boys as well, to go and to, you know, sort of counsel them and mentor them to in terms of what I've been through as well.
Wow.
Then also is to, like, you know, awaken, you know, the men as well into Christ, like just bring them into Christ and form them into a king as well, because I feel like all the men, they have potential in them, and obviously everybody has Christ in them as well, but the fact like everyone is just spiritually blind, they don't see that. So I feel like it's my job as well to just bring men back to Christ as well. So I'm still asking God about the vision and how to do the tools as well to do it at the same time. So
that's amazing. So do you feel like in the process of you learning how to mentor others, it's also mentored you as a person?
Yeah, it sort of mentored me in a way, because I was still what Tyler Perry said as well, because Tyler Perry said he's the student of life. So in life, we're all students in life, because life is teaching us something. At the same time, I'm both men and both women at the same time. So I feel like as a man, I've learned, I won't say I've learned a lot, but I'm still learning a lot in terms of, you know, what, you know, women needs in a man as well. So, and how, you know, because we find out like a lot of women complain about, you know, how men are not being prepared to do this and do that in terms of marriage. And obviously there's a pressure falling, you know, in the woman's side, but not in the men's side, how to prepare. So, and I feel like that's why I come in place as well, just to, you know, prepare the man in terms of, you know, how to be a man properly. So.
Okay. So, and that's definitely made you very different.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of that touches in with like what you said. The advice you'd give yourself, I'm sure you'd give to someone else if they had gone through what you had gone through. I wanted to ask a little bit of a personal thing, because you touched on, you know, you're doing your work, which is an amazing work, you know, to start up basically men's ministry to help young men. And you said, sorry, just to recall, that, you know, there's a lot of pressure on the women. Why do you feel that as a man that they do not gravitate, like, you know, they don't, do you feel like there's a pressure on the man? Is there something that's making them insecure?
It depends really, because some of the men, I feel like some of them have gone through brokenness, or some of them have not really had a father figure in their life as well, or some of them do have a father figure in their life, but they're just, you know,
a lack of relationship,
and just, you know, like copying what the father is doing at the moment as well. So because, you know, like even me, like going back to me not being able to have a father in my life as well, like just made me do what I was doing as well. But there's some men that obviously they had a father figure. I'm thinking, you guys have a father figure, why are you still, you know, doing what you're doing now? So it doesn't really make sense. But at the same time, because, you know, God loves, like, we're all God's children as well, and even God loves men as well. I don't feel like God is happy with the way some men are going about as well. So, but to be honest, God did not create us to be perfect, because if you look at the story of King David, like I'll use David as an example, because David made a lot of mistakes as well. Like David even killed his own friend to even sleep with a girl, with his own friend as well. So by the same time, God still granted mercy and grace at the same time as well, and they still had asked God for forgiveness and mercy. But God still did not say like, oh well, like you did this, let me just like get away from me. Also, God still, you know, it still came, like God still welcomed him back as well. So like in the Bible, none of the men were quite perfect, but they all made mistakes. But God still loved them as well, and God still used them at the same time as well. So I feel like, you know, that's the same thing I was saying with the men as well. Like no matter what you did in the past, no matter what mistakes you did as well, God still loves you, and God still wants you to come towards him, not run away from him. So yeah.
Thank you so much, honestly, thank you so much. Actually, I've heard today, you know, the powerful story that he's just shared of what he's gone through, what he's experienced in terms of as being a man, and, you know, what he's gone through, and the advice that he's been giving out, you know, even advice that I would definitely correlate and touch on. You know, be who you are. First of all, be yourself, and understand that, you know, you are loved. There is love there, despite of any circumstances, any situations, your past mistakes, what you've encountered, you're still loved, and there's somebody willing to support you and help you in that area. So yeah, it's been fantastic having you. Thank you so much, Toby.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. So we're about to close our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Thank you so much. We'll be here next week on Friday, 5 p.m. again on the same platform of Accompanied by Jess. If you have a story that you want to share, that you want to, you know, give out, and you want basic, genuine advice, something that will touch you, yes, please email accompaniedbyjess@gmail.com. We'll be here to support you, to love you, and to encourage you. We have so many more other people that want to join us on this platform. Why not join us too? Thank you so much, and have a blessed night. Bye bye.